big mistake. Never meant to miss the date. I was caught up with my friends. I forgot that we had plans. So the roses on the floor and found the champagne by the door. All my favorite.
Everybody, welcome back to my channel with Lifestyle of Shelly. I'm so happy you guys could join us today. This is day 15 of Vlogmas, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a mini little Bible recap of the scripture that I read today. The chapter that I read today. I'll probably read more chapters today, but one thing I say, a chapter a day keeps the devils away. But like, nah, that's just a funny saying I like to say. But no, we'll be reading chapter 37, Genesis 37, all the way through. So every verse in 37 we'll be reading, and it's really just a recap over it. So I'll read it, then I'll recap over it, like how I feel about it, what I kind of think about it, plus on top of what I've already read. So of course, my whole life I have grew up in a church. I have a church home that I go to and stuff like that, but I didn't really get to understand it until I got a lot older, to understand what I believed, what I felt, like what was intriguing to me, what I was connected to. And so I had decided, like, this year, I was like, I really just started getting focused with doing it. I was like, I'm gonna read the Bible like from the beginning to the end, and not so I can memorize any, everything or whatever. It's certain parts, of course, you'll remember out of it. But I have read the Bible so many times from my grandmother, in church, different paraphrases of different scriptures said. So I know like certain scriptures and things like that, but I wanted to be able to understand the Bible myself and have the interpretation and understanding and knowledge for me. So I decided to start from the very beginning of it so that I could learn about it. And as I'm learning about it, I also watch Prophet Lovi because I feel like he has a better understanding in certain of the Bible. And I do believe it's levels to spirituality, and some people are higher than you. And so I love to watch him because he inspires me and he helps me to understand certain things. So I definitely believe in reading it, but not just reading it, really trying to understand it. So I'll say like what I kind of feel about it, and then I'll pray for like a better understanding than what I even thought, because everyone needs an interpretation of their dreams, of the Bible, all of that. So Genesis chapter 37, we're going to start at verse 1. And it's Joseph's dreams. That's what it's titled. So Jacob lived in a land where his father. Okay, sorry for my voice, you guys. I'm a little under the weather. My daughter was a little under weather, and I think she kind of gave me a little bug a little bit. It's not like too bad, but I feel it in my throat a little bit. Jacob lived in a land where his father had stayed to the land of Canaan. This is the account of Jacob. Joseph, a young man of 17, was tending the flocks with his brothers, the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah. So y'all, like, I still be trying to say the words the right way. They ain't always gonna be said the right way because, like, I don't know, like, but I'm trying. His father's wives, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Now Israel loved Joseph more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age. And he made a richly, oh my goodness, my throat. He made a richly ornamented robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright while your chiefs gathered around mine and bowed down to it. His brothers said to him, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. Listen, he said, I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars will bow down to me. When he told his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Joseph sold by his brothers. That's another title within the chapter 37 or whatever. So for me, I like to break it down as I go, or whatever, because I need to, I like to have understanding in parts as I continue so that it doesn't get jumbled up for me. I don't know how anybody else kind of like goes through things, but for me, for one, I feel like, so this is the thing. Jacob, his name was turned into Israel, so that's why they keep saying Israel instead of Jacob. Dang. I'm trying to, I was trying to see something, but no. His name got changed to, God changed Jacob's name to Israel, and he told him he'll be called Israel now. You know what I'm saying? So that's why his name right here in this chapter is Israel. Of course, they still are saying Jacob to have, for us to be able to understand and put together, not confusing. But Joseph is the son of Jacob, which is Israel now. And he is his favorite because he was born at old age. Like when Israel was old, that's when he was born. So that's who he favored it. And so with him favoriting him, for me, I feel like, okay, the other sons, just like kind of how in this day and age, if you feel like there's a favorite, you're like, dang, like it's not supposed to be any favorites or anything like that. But I feel like in the Bible, a lot of the times when favoritism comes, sometimes it's because of the calling, or it's because of how they show themselves, like their character, who they are, how they are. Like God sees everything, and I feel like that's something that matters, and I feel like a lot of times that connects back to that. And then as you can see, their hearts grew cold. Like instead of like still loving their father, their hearts grew cold with their father, and they hated him based on that. So that was already something that was possibly there in their heart. God can see everything, so he creates everything. So it's like that's already a posture, a heart posture that they could have had, or something that was a possibility. It's like God tests us. A lot of times when things are about to level us up, we get tested, right? And so I feel like that's the test. Like, and instead you hate him and you go evil first. The first thing you think about is going evil. You don't talk, you don't understand, you don't figure out anything. You just, I hate you. And I feel like that heart posture matters. So I think that's why it was easier to have Joseph, and then Joseph having the dream and telling his brothers, and they hating him more instead of understanding, like, dang, like, okay, what is God doing here? Like, what's going on? Like, instead of understanding, instead of loving, because I feel like it's like this. Like, you have a group of friends, and one comes up before you do. Like, let's say one gets the wealth and the riches before you do, but y'all are a group and they love you. So when they love you, they're willing to pour into you. So as long as you're working to help yourself, they're willing to help you so you can get to the level they're at. But let's say you get jealous and you get upset and angry because they leveled up before you. Now you have hatred in your heart towards them. Now God will reveal all that to them as they grow closer with Christ. And so once that's revealed, now you don't even get none of it, of the pie, because now you decided to have that heart posture that is of anger and everything like that. So now you don't even get to enjoy that with them. So I kind of correlate that to the brothers. Like, dang, like instead of really listening to understand the dream, they got mad because they felt like, oh, like you're saying you're better than us. When all actuality, no, like I may be more in a spiritual connection than y'all. Like something could have been different, y'all. We could be at different levels spiritually. You know what I'm saying? And instead of understanding and taking the good out of the situation and not just thinking about themselves, they hated him more. So then after that, when the telling his dad, and his dad is telling Israel and Israel rebuking it, I feel like with him rebuking it, it's kind of like a lack of understanding in that dream for real. I don't think like he totally crossed it out because it says like, you know, he still kept it in mind. But I feel like he kind of like put it on a back burner a little bit because he don't really understand it. But it was for Joseph to understand because it was his dream anyways, but it's to help, you know, to talk to, you know, when you talk to people about it, you can get an interpretation, you know, you never know, like sometimes it could just be awakening to them, so you kind of never know. So that's really what I got from it. And and then like the next dream when he was like the stars and everything, you know, bowing down to him, and that's the dad like basically feeling like, are we gonna be bowing down to you like as your parents too and your siblings or whatever? I think it was like a confusion, like him not knowing the dad, Israel. So we're gonna go to Joseph sold his brothers. Sold by his brothers, so Joseph's brothers sold him. So now his brothers had gone to graze their father's flock near Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, as you know, your brothers are grazing the flocks near Shechem. Come, I am going to send you to them. Very well, he replied. So he said to him, go and see if all is well with your brothers and with the flocks, and bring word back to me. Then he sent him off from the valley of Hebron. When Joseph arrived at Shechem, a man found him wandering around in the fields and asked him, what are you looking for? He replied, I'm looking for my brothers. Can you tell me where they are grazing their flocks? They have moved on from here, the man answered. I heard them say, let's go to Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Here comes the dreamer, they said. They said to each other, come now, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a feckless animal devoured him. Then we'll see what comes of his dreams. So what I am going to do is I do like to underline, like I get that this is an animal of ferocious. Oh, it's a ferocious animal. Look at that. When you start reading and understanding, you get it. But I don't know what a cistern is, so I'm gonna look that up. But then they was like, then we'll see what comes of his dreams. When Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue him from their hands. Let's not take his life, he said. Don't shed any blood. Throw him into this cistern here in the desert, but don't lay a hand on him. Reuben said this to rescue him from them and take him back to his father. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the richly ornamented robe he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the cistern. Now the cistern was empty. There was no water in it. As they, oh, so is that kind of like a well? As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan and Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to take them down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, what will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed. So when the Midianite merchants came by, his brothers pulled Joseph up out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. When Reuben returned to the cistern and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes. He went back to his brothers and said, the boy isn't there. Where can I turn now? Then they got Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in the blood. They took the ornamented robe back to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it to see whether it's your son's robe." He recognized it and said, "It's my son's robe." Some ferocious animals had devoured him. Joseph had surely been torn to pieces. Then Jacob tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "No," he said, "in mourning will I go down to the grave to my son." So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, one of the Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard. So basically, because we're not trying to do this too long, but it's almost over anyways. But basically, he got sold, and that's the end of chapter 37 anyways. Okay, so basically, with them supposed to be killing their brother, one of the brothers had more common sense. Judah had more common sense to not kill their brother, and basically kind of thinking about how bad it is to do so to your own flesh and blood, and just feeling like basically what will they get if they kill him? Like, what will they gain from killing him? Like, just because they hate the fact that he's favorited and they hate the fact that he has certain dreams. So it's like, what will we get from killing him here and leaving? You know what I'm saying? So instead, like with them selling him, they feel like we can get something in return for selling him. We don't want him around anyways, so let's sell him and get something that we can benefit from. But they dipped his robe in, like, blood, I guess, of the animals, of the ferocious animal that he's supposed to be attacked by, so that they can deceive their father Jacob, which is Israel now. So they can deceive him and basically making him think that his son is dead instead of his son is sold. So they can probably, for me, I feel like it's so they can feel like they can take his spot. Basically, now it's no favorite. Now you don't have him no more. And when they're trying to comfort him, he don't even want that because he's mourning, because that is his favorite. So it still really didn't benefit them to do that, in my opinion. So I feel like it's a deceit going on, and right now the father is not sure what's going on, so he's really just being deceived. You know what I'm saying? And I know the truth will reveal. Of course, we're in the Bible, so so I just think that's like kind of a beautiful thing, how you see things can correlate to life and connect back to things of this world that allows you to see, like, there's things you're getting shown in real terms that's in the Bible. You get what I'm saying? Like, things you can correlate it to. So for me, I definitely love that, understanding, and I'm going to ask God for a better interpretation of what it actually means completely, as I pray about it. But I really did enjoy reading that. So what I'm going to do is write my notes. Yes, I told y'all, but I'm going to write my notes down and give kind of like a detailed description of what I feel. That's what I usually do here in my handy dandy notebook, as we can keep going, pages and pages, whatever. And some in the back. I don't know why I skip pages and do weird stuff, but I got another book too. But yeah, so we can go from there. And so I just thank you guys for watching my channel, and I hope you guys get something from this. I hope this draws you closer to God. I hope you have a better understanding of how you may do things, how your heart posture may be. I hope you decide to walk in love and understanding and grace, and just walk and just be the best version of you, and be that person that strives to be better. And for me, I seek God every day, and I want to be closer. I want to have more understanding. I want to have that wisdom, and I want to have the knowledge as well. So it's just gonna be beautiful for me, because I can't wait till I grow spiritually more and more and more and more and more and more. But yeah, we're here, and sometimes I'll come back and I'll read certain chapters in here, like to y'all or whatever the case may be, and we'll do a little rundown. You know what I'm saying? But just love on your people, love on yourself, love on God. Like, seek God, ask God for help, ask God for guidance, ask God for wisdom, ask God for understanding and knowledge. Like, just really want to grow even in your life completely. So I love y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.